All right. Welcome back to Rookie Geek Gaming. Oh my God! So Roseanne is back. Oddly, I'm sitting there uh, yesterday at work, and and my wife's like, "You gotta watch the new Roseanne." I mean, we're both we're both conservatives. Did you know my wife actually got me on the Trump train? I started out. I was like, Rand Paul. All right, it's time. Let's do this. Rand Paul. All right. And and then obviously the Trump train happened. So all aboard. But I got some wine today. So it's a later episode. But so my wife is like, Roseanne just came on. She's like, I watched it. It's fantastic. I know you'd like it. I was like, good. Okay, this is exciting. I had started to hear some rumblings that had done pretty well as far as ratings are concerned. So it was a two-part episode, two episodes for the price of one uh, when it aired. Which I think it probably helped fairly substantially as far as ratings is concerned. I think people needed the two episodes on whichever side they were on. So, and I think that's a fairly interesting point to make. I don't know if her ratings would have been as high if it were only a half hour. I guess if people were gonna watch it, they would have watched a half hour as opposed to an hour without much of an issue. So that's a theory. But either way, yeah, I'm old enough to remember the first round of Roseanne. I don't know that I watched it through and through. I guess it went 9 seasons prior. We're on to our 10th season now of Roseanne. A 20-year break. Officially now, Roseanne received a second season already, which is, I think, pretty impressive. So we were at, another full season of Roseanne. I think that's kind of cool. Um, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that would be a bad thing. I think that's pretty cool. So, a whole second season of Roseanne. Yeah, the first two episodes were great. Um, you know, I, the media buzz. It's been good. I think CNN even had to say that it did well. They were forced to say that. It's kind of like, naturally it did well. So, um, yeah, I imagine, obviously Republicans are pretty excited about it, but all right. So let's get to the heart of the episode. Um, they talked about a wide range of topics. They start out with healthcare right off the bat. They jump into, you know, the transgender kid. Maybe is I don't know. That's just cross dressing. Like, I'll see where they go with that. Um, they talked about losing a gun in the house and they got to go find it. Because they got kids in the house now. They talked about, oh gosh, just the family feuds of politics. They talked about taking a knee during grace. They talked about, the surrogate mother thing. Obviously, and that's a way to bring in both Beckys. I think anyone who was a fan of the show thought that was pretty entertaining. We got both Beckys in now. That's fun stuff. I think anyone would be hard pressed to figure out, a better way to do that. So, gonna pause here. Why won't this pop up for me? Eager. So what happens? Do I get like a wow when that shows up? Probably not. Okay. I want to jump over here to the human lands. I feel like it's counterproductive to fight orcs. But anyways, they talked about, they pulled out her book, and, he's like, oh, you killed off the main character, and she's like, oh, if only I had more bondage and, wizards. And it's kind of fascinating, because those are the things, they did a really good job covering almost all of the topics. They got them all out of the way. Aunt Jackie showing up with a nasty woman shirt and a pink pussy hat. That's good stuff. And this is so what's fascinating about Roseanne. It was always, it's always been a show about, I guess for lack of a better term, white trash family. But who love each other and fairly normal. That's kind of middle America. When I grew up, my parents weren't rich. We were pretty good. My dad was a hard worker. My dad is very similar to Dan in this episode. I imagine he wouldn't be too thrilled if I were to wear girls' clothes. That's obviously bizarre, but for me, not for whatever. But yeah, it's just that middle America. It's that the father going to drink in the garage, the house that isn't clean, the everyday issues of the everyday American. I don't know if there's a show that embraced it more than Roseanne did before. It's easy to say that. I'm sure there are plenty of shows, but they didn't highlight, finding rich Americans is easy. Modern Family, they're rich. They're all rich beyond belief. And it is to some extent, that's middle America too, but that's the upper class middle America, but Roseanne really tapped into something different, and I think that's why the show has done so well, because of the fact that they were able to do that. They were able to, make a show that spoke to these Americans. And so yeah, I guess we'll do that. So and it'll be interesting to see where the show goes. I think it's kind of it's a little early yet to call, it's the best show ever. It's not. It wasn't the best show ever. I enjoyed a lot of the quips and the laughter and the there were some really enjoyable jokes in there. She's like, oh, and I just wanted to, thank God for making America great again. And oh my God, like the look on Dan's face when they talk about little Mark being, wearing girls' clothes, and, Jackie showing up and be like, what's up, deplorable? And but they hit both sides of it. They didn't just make they didn't just make the left right or wrong. They didn't make the right or wrong. Um, they just made it about this family that saw politics differently, and now they're trying to rebuild that lost family connection. Because I'll tell you what, it happened all over. I mean, everyone everyone was affected by politics this time around so much more personally than any other time, which is why I kind of had to change this podcast. Probably four people are going to watch this or whatever, but uh, it became so different this time around. I was never really into politics before this year. Everything was just kind of hunky dory. I have um, one thing that I'm very I'm very much into. Gun rights. And the actual ownership of the guns don't matter to me, personally, but it's that right that kind of it defends against all the other rights. And it's a right that I take. I guess freedom of religion too would be the other one that I'm all about as well. But yeah, freedom of religion was so important to me too. I in college I was um, in college I found the Viking religion, and I thought it was super cool, and I enjoyed it, and I got into it and researched it a lot, and I just thought it was a cool thing. So, but yeah, the Second Amendment. I'm sure it'll get talked about. They said they lost the gun. It was a precursor to another episode. Like, I'm sure at some point one of the kids is going to find it, and then they have to deal with it at that point. And because they're going to bring on the issue, and from what I can tell, they're going to talk about both sides of the issue. Jackie, brought up some good points. So I think the Jackie scene was probably the most interesting to me. So she said that Roseanne got her to think that she was so stupid for voting for Hillary that she actually went into the voting booth and voted for Jill Stein. Which, when she said that, I'm dying laughing. Like, that was the funniest thing. I followed Jill Stein on Twitter because she above all wrote what I would have some of the more out there things, and as far as like, man, and I like I guess I don't want to put this like whatever is true. It's so easy to find things that support your case regardless of which side you fall on. Like, you can come up with some whatever claim you want to make, and you can find some absolutely insane way to support your case as opposed to anyone else's. And so I kind of feel like I kind of feel like like Jill Stein. She was not. They weren't sending their best, let me tell you. But I wanted to go into the rating option. Oh well. But they. She is so. Anyways, I got caught up on that more than I needed to. I don't know how to put the words. Quite what I want to say, but yeah, I thought it was fascinating that she said that she voted for Jill Stein when I guess it didn't occur to me that us, the right, calling them stupid, because we got called stupid in return oh, how can you think that? You're just a deplorable. But did that really happen? Were people actually questioning, the Clinton empire, and how somebody who has only done government service becomes a millionaire? Like, that's the part it baffles me the most about politics or politicians. How, on a salary of 140,000, whatever. What the president's salary is 200,000, but I expect, I don't know. That's just different. I got it. That doesn't bother me as much. The fact that Obama's a millionaire now doesn't. But he's like, kind of naturally that'll happen. But how a politician making, let's say, 120. I suppose I could look it up to get specifics, but how a politician that makes about 120 has a $3 million house, or has multiple houses, or has, all of this stuff that just makes you think, like, how would anyone even believe that this was possible, that they had that much? It just, so the corporate lobbying, obviously it's garbage. Obviously corporate lobbying has problems. That is just such a, obviously these people are being paid tons of money to get their political agenda in, and so right now we're in the midst of the NRA being attacked because of the Parkland shooting, which is utterly fascinating when you dig into the Parkland shooting. This kid Cruz, like, called the cops on himself, had multiple different, I've heard numbers like 39 times the police were contacted in regards to this kid. The one girl, the bald one that's got the Cuban tattoo, or Cuban tag on her jacket, she's like, you didn't know him, he, of course he was gonna do this, and those that told us we should have been nicer. Well, you didn't know him. So she admits to bullying this kid, which is shocking. Like, not that she's the reason, but maybe if you didn't bully him, maybe he wouldn't have done it. I don't know what else you could come away thinking. And it's no one's fault, and to take any individual blame for this thing is just not accurate. The only person to blame for that shooting is the shooter. He's the one that pulled the trigger. He's the one that bought the guns. He's the one that loaded the guns. He's the one that put the guns into a car, and he's the one that went to the school, and he's the one that opened up fire in a gun-free zone. Gun-free zone. And so, and then they turn around and they attack the NRA, and they attack gun owners, and I just don't know how people square that circle. I don't know how that happens, because it definitely didn't have anything to do with the NRA. If it was the NRA, then it would have been, an NRA member who did something. It would have been one of the executives of the NRA doing something. And of course there's corporate lobbying. And of course the NRA lobbies, because they have to. Because there's been, at this point now, the gig is up. The left wants to come, we're coming for your guns. Well, you've said that you are. So at this point now, it's not even, it's not a question of whether you're going to. It's just that you are. Um, and as harsh as that is, or as wrong as maybe the left thinks we are, you've said now that it's, well, obviously you want to remove this gun and you want to disarm citizens, and yeah, of course that's a problem. Disarming, as we've talked about, disarming lawful citizens is immoral. Disarming lawful citizens is immoral. You can't call it moral. Oh, we're trying to save lives by removing a right from another group. I mean, well, anyways. So, Roseanne. Oh my gosh. You're just a good person that can't do simple math, Jackie. And that's, I mean, we're at this point where, they talk about all this stuff. I mean, yeah, is America perfect? Fuck, no, we're not perfect. We are not perfect at all. America is not perfect. And then to realize that America is better than, I don't know, probably 80% of the planet. You realize that, and then you kind of stop and go, okay, well, are there some things we could work on? Sure. But to say that America is, the source of evil or the whatever is just, it's so utterly far-fetched. And so it's so I guess, what did this show do? I think, is this the turn? Is this the turn that the right needed to advance its position in the culture war? Because there is a war for the culture going on right now. It feels like there is a very loud minority that is so caught up on these issues that they are loud. They are super loud. They are all over social media. They run CNN. They run BuzzFeed and HuffPo, and they generate tons of attention for all these topics that, there's so many of them at this point that it's hard to even keep track. But that, like, all of America is racist, and all of America is cruel to people, and the words we use are hurtful, and just a ton of things that it's hard to oh, I let that guy just die, so I guess I won't get him back. Yeah, alright. Oh, the upkeep on this guy is ridiculous. Maybe we'll just... Okay. Yeah, and so, and then you have the large, I think, silent minority, which I don't know, silent minority, silent majority, but I don't know that it is a majority. I mean, I don't know how silent it is. I don't know how much of a majority it really is. Trump won, but there's a whole list of things that you could define as reasons why he won that have nothing to do with him. I mean, Hillary was just a very unlikable candidate, with a lot of issues. And so to say it was all Trump, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got on the Trump train, and frankly, still am. I don't know about a $1.3 trillion omnibus spending package, unless somehow that included the wall. But that was something that I obviously didn't jump ship on or whatever. But man, it was like, what just happened? How did this get through? I thought we weren't doing this, whatever. But still give them the benefit of the doubt, because that's what I do. So. Yeah, I do think it's fascinating that this is I mean, and they did well with the show. And so again, going back to it, is this the change in the culture war? Is this the change in the culture war? Is this how we finally kind of have our breakthrough or whatever? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it is exactly that. I don't know if I mean, it'll sure help. Without a doubt, it'll sure help. And so I'm listening to Stefan Molyneux yet again. Go check out Stefan Molyneux. But he talked about, have we come to that point where there's just no turning back? There are so many people on welfare. There is such a dependency system. There are so many people pouring into America that we are then turning around and helping, even though they. So it's an interesting point about immigrants and people saying, oh, well, they're not paying taxes, and or they're not working, or they don't have jobs, or they're sucking away at the economy. I knew some illegal immigrants. They're no longer illegal, but they were. And so what they would do is they would work because they need to have money, and they would find somebody who would let them use their social security number. They would then put their job into that person's social security number, and then that person, basically their reward for letting them use their legal social security number is the bigger tax refund at the end of the year, and the earnings associated with it. And it's a big scam. And I thought it was this little thing, but no, it's everywhere, and it's a lot, and it's not just one or two. It's a lot. So, when people talk about oh, there's nothing to be, I mean, so is that a drain on the system? I mean, I guess technically they're paying taxes while they're working, which is good and great, but I mean, I guess they are here working. It is good. It is good when they come and work, but I think then the argument would be made, well, why don't they work on becoming citizens? Why don't they? And my friends did. Like, I learned this story, and it was just completely, I mean, like, I said to them over and over, you guys need to write a book. Like, if people knew their story, that might be, I think I'm going to add that to a later topic, their story crossing the border that they told me, because I can keep it anonymous. I'll write that down right now. So let's table that one for next time. But that might change your mind in general. So, but yeah, Roseanne, I mean, it talked about a lot of stuff. The second episode was all about Mark, the little boy that likes to wear girls' clothes. Kids like to do things, and adults are supposed to adult. We don't want to get our kids beat up, so we tell them how to be normal humans. Like, that's part of being an adult. Kids would just want to eat cake all day, but instead we make them not eat cake all day. So, and so that's all part of it. I mean, that kind of goes into, being. Ooh, I don't know if I should do that. Holy crap! I'm gonna run out of money here pretty soon. This should cave quick, and then I can. Yeah, okay, we'll give it a go. I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Let's reduce some of my upkeep here. I don't know if this is a good idea, but I got this other dude on board, and he's got. Okay, let's give that a go. This kid's gonna have. I mean, obviously not. I don't even know what the kid's like in real life. It'd be kind of fascinating to find out, but, you going to school. It's not the real world. That's part of the problem too. If you want to teach your kid the real world, you don't send them to school. You have them open up a lemonade stand. So, if we should let kids be themselves, but it is a parent's job to try to mold that child into a successful adult in the real world. I mean, that is the whole point, I think, how to make them a contributing member of society. And so, if he likes fashion and stuff, that's great. You help explore that. You help get him to do things, and that that's wonderful. But it'll be interesting to see where the show takes that. I think. I love Dan's reaction though. The whole thing. It's just. In the show, I mean, it is kind of missing. I mean, John Goodman's a powerful male presence. To be fair, he actually, I want to say, changed my life. There was a scene in The Gambler where he talks about fuck you money. And that was one of the more brilliant scenes in a movie. I mean, that scene, like I said, it did, I don't want to say it completely changed my life, but man, it was a really good scene. So, he talks about, building that base, and, America was built on that ability to just, the Britain's got a bigger army, bigger navy, we'll take them on anyways, it's what we do. So, that concept's really important, and I wish more people would focus on building their own wealth as opposed to trying to steal other people's wealth. Because wealth isn't a zero-sum game. There isn't a fixed amount. Like, literally, when you go take out a mortgage, the mortgage companies create this money. They literally put zeros, usually 5 zeros, into an account, and then they give that money to the buyer, or I'm sorry, they give that money to the seller, and then the buyer gets a home. That money isn't real. Let me tell you, that money was not there just moments prior. It was definitely just created and then used to buy a house and put, hundreds of thousands of dollars into circulation suddenly that wasn't there before. So our money is not a fixed number. Somebody isn't rich because they took it from somebody else. Somebody is rich because they created wealth. They created value. And so don't let people say that people are rich because they stole from others. There are cases where that's true, but it is not by any means the rule. So, people are rich because they gave back. they worked, they created something, they built, they built something, um, they created a company and hired people and um, helped to drive the economy forward, and that's what happened. So don't let necessarily just buy in blindly to um, the whole concept that, what did you just do? Oh, my kitty's playing around. That rich people stole the money. That's how they got it. It's probably not true. And if that's the way they got rich, then likely they will end up in jail at some point. So that money will be taken away. That's pretty. That's this pretty straightforward version of that story. So, yeah, but props to Roseanne. Props to the entire Roseanne cast for getting it back together. I mean, I think it was a fantastic show. I think it was enjoyable to watch. I think it was funny. I'm excited to see where it goes. ABC already signed it up for a second season, so wow. I mean, that's great. That bodes well for Republicans. We like to laugh at ourselves too. I mean, it's fun, and we will laugh about it. So, and I followed Roseanne. Oh my God, for a long time now on Twitter, and she was she was funny, and she did go after people, and she's outwardly supported Trump this whole time, and I think Republicans needed that, and I hope they see the value in having Roseanne around. In that I hope they see why it's important to have her. And I hope she keeps doing what she's doing. I hope they can keep the show going, and I hope it helps drive this, our position in the culture war, because I think so, like the Parkland shooting, to go back to it, they're like, oh, the NRA wants to kill children. Well, hate to break it to you, they don't. So to hold that as if that's your argument, that the NRA is out to kill children, I think it falls short, because there's 5 million NRA members. They haven't shot anyone. Most of them, I would imagine, have children. And so to say that that's their goal and their whole drive in life, well, you're wrong. We also don't think lefties want to kill people. So there's that. So, I mean, there's such a weird, we're in such a fragile time almost. America, there's, we can go the route of socialism. I mean, large parts of our government and economy are already socialist, between, taxpayer funded roads to the school systems. And that's another thing. So apparently, so apparently the what am I trying to say here? So apparently the let's see, I need to be required to adopt 25%. So apparently the there we go. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So apparently there was an article about or I saw a meme on Facebook about how, the whole Trump administration must have been homeschooled by Betsy DeVos. Well, it's funny they said that because I've seen polled studies and looked it up that homeschooling actually leads to higher intelligence, and that's it's such a huge misconception. But there's so many lies in society now, like straight up lies, um, and it is fairly frustrating that it's allowed to perpetuate the way that it does. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Roseanne can keep doing what she's doing. I mean, I hope the show continues into perpetuity. I hope, it helps us drive some of the culture war. I mean, only time will tell. I think there's a lot yet to go, and but yeah, I mean, it hopefully it gets there. Hopefully we can get Tim Allen back for Last Man Standing. Mike Rowe is doing a great job. We got Mel Gibson now and Vince Vaughn and a whole lot of people that are really, they're I guess we need the Hollywood to come out of the closet. I mean, more of Hollywood really needs to do that. James Wood's been a great voice. I'm sure the Wahlbergs are all Republican, or for the most part. Adam Baldwin, I've been following him since the get-go. He's fun to follow on Twitter. He's very active, but he might actually be one of my favorite people on Twitter. Jane. Where is the Stone Mine Tower? Oh, way over there. I don't want to go that way. Yeah, they, oh man. So, yeah, I mean, Adam Baldwin, great guy to follow. Talk about a family with some riffs. Talk about some family rifts that are going on. I mean, that family's probably, all sorts of issues there. But how do I battles won, casualties? No casualties, no captives. Interesting. Yeah, you talk about. Oh, there we go. That'll help. I mean, geez, your brother plays Trump on SNL. I mean, holy crap! I can't imagine a more awkward Thanksgiving. But that's what Roseanne really talked about. Talked about these, the family and how it's been really hurt by this political shift. I mean, I had my cousin's wife unfriended me from Facebook. Like, what are you doing? Unfriending? Like, just unfollow people. Oh. It was utterly, like, when I realized it, I'm like, it just takes a certain, I don't know, like, what, I mean, I don't even know how to describe that. I unfriended 2 people on Facebook. One was deleting my comments when we were debating back and forth. I was told I was gaslighting them. Like, gaslighting's such a funny term to me, because it's like, oh, I just don't believe what you're telling me, so I'm going to say you're gaslighting me. Okay. And so they're deleting my comments, and I'm just like, okay, I can't I can't stick around for that. I'm not going to sit by while somebody deletes my comments on Facebook. I mean, if you don't like what I have to say, that's fine. Um, but yeah, don't delete my comments. Like, that's just, I don't know. That was utterly, I don't know. I couldn't justify that for anything. So yeah, I couldn't justify that. I mean, it was just so bizarre. It was so weird that was what was going on. So yeah, I had to disavow that, so to speak. So um, did that raise your? Seems like it. Yeah, I couldn't stick by that one. That just wasn't anything that was necessary or required or whatever. So um, but and still, was it justified? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. I probably should have just. I probably just should have ignored it and moved on and unfollowed or whatever. But yeah. I mean, it is kind of fascinating. The level that people have taken it to as far as personal. Oh, is he attacking me? Oh, this might be the end of this game right here. Oh wow, what a way to finish this. All right, let's end it. Oh no. But yeah, it's interesting. So, Warzag, the Great Green Prophet. At the game I was just playing beforehand was these guys. These guys are fun. Let's see, what were some other fun topics that they talked about? Dan gave him a knife. That was kind of weird. Oh, but he did talk about toxic masculinity. Like, when did masculine become a dirty word? I think that's a rallying cry for a lot more people than I think the left really understands. The comments, it's okay to be white and it's okay to be a man, and I think that's kind of the stuff that is going to bite the left pretty hard down the line. I just don't think they understand quite what it is that they've done as far as blowing that all out of proportion. There really isn't. It is okay to be white. I'm really sorry that there was a certain past that happened, but it definitely it's definitely just part of the world, and you need to just kind of deal with it. Yeah, I mean, America's past. It was kind of fascinating. A lot of things happened that maybe could have been done differently, but they weren't. They weren't necessarily bad. Man, I have a lot. Like, even since I was a kid and in high school, there were a lot of things that I thought that I know are just completely, almost unspeakable, but completely true. Um, um, Yeah, I mean, right or wrong, there's been a lot of really weird, um, things that have happened as far as like America's involvement and stuff, and who's to blame. Um, there really has been. Ooh, that was a pretty good thing. Oh, these two giants fighting. That's fun. Oh, shoot. What am I... there's got to be something going on here that I can do different. Oh, I think I just killed my own dudes. This is not going real well here. Oh, that's better than I thought. Keep running, man. I don't want to lose you. Oh, yeah. Oh, this game is lost. There is no doubt about it now. Yep. Oh, well. Hey, that was an enjoyable game, though. I'm glad we got to have that fight together. Yeah, still, see, a rookie gamer. Nothing's changed. But, yeah, I think 2018 elections will be interesting. I mean, the leftist media has done a fantastic job swaying people. I mean, I see it in my workplace, so that's really not a surprise. We, I wonder how all that's going to play out, but only time will tell, really. Oh, wow. That guy did really good. Yeah, so what ends up happening? I don't know. Only time will tell. But I think the economy is improving at enough of a clip where it becomes hard to want to say deny the reality of it occurring. I mean, at some point in time, between even just the positivity of the economy and the actual between that and then the actual improvements occurring. I mean, at some point in time, I think people are just going to see the improvements and understand that it is reality. It is what's happening, and so once it's hard to deny, it's hard to deny. So will that have any effect on things? I don't know. I mean, we'll see how that. Oh, I actually have to repair these. Oof, that's interesting. Oh yeah, I guess so. I mean, that makes sense. They got destroyed. Oh, fairly interesting. But yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough for this one. So that's Roseanne. We'll keep watching it. I don't know if I'll keep talking about it unless something really spectacular happens. But yeah, guys. Until next time, have a good one.